Okay, so you know debt.
Yeah.
Nobody really likes talking about debt. It's like right up there with
Well,
taxes and root canals.
Uh-huh.
But what if I told you
Yeah.
that debt could actually be a good thing?
Really?
At least that's what this blog post is suggesting.
Oh, interesting. Which one?
From Money Moves Malaysia.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Did you?
Debt. A tool for the rich, a trap for the poor.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was posted just a few days ago, November 16th, 2024.
Right.
So it got me thinking.
Yeah.
Is this just one of those, like, secrets of the wealthy things?
Yeah.
Or is there something we can all learn from this?
Right.
Today, we're going to unpack how the wealthy supposedly use debt differently and see if any of these strategies could apply to your life.
I like it.
All right, so the blog starts with this idea of leverage.
Okay.
And it uses the example of buying a house in Malaysia for RM 500,000. So let's say you put down RM 100,000 of your own money.
Yeah.
And get a mortgage for the other RM 400,000.
Okay. So instead of saving up the whole $500,000, you're using a loan to kind of control a larger asset.
Exactly. I get it.
Right.
Okay, so.
Now imagine property value goes up by just a modest 10%.
Okay.
That's a RM 50,000 profit.
Yes.
But remember, you only put in RM 100,000 of your own money.
Right.
You've suddenly made a 50% return on your investment.
Okay, that does make debt sound a bit less scary.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, it takes money to make money.
Exactly.
Great.
But here's where things get a little tricky. That magnification works both ways. If the property value decreases by 10%.
Right.
You still owe that RM 400,000.
Yeah.
But now your investment is worth less.
Less than what you put in.
Exactly. And as the blog points out, this risk becomes even greater during an economic downturn.
Worse.
Things can get pretty ugly pretty quickly.
Okay, it's a gamble.
It is.
So there's a balance between risk and reward when using debt as leverage.
For sure.
You could say it's like a high-stakes poker game.
Yeah, very apt analogy. That brings us to another concept the blog discusses.
Okay.
OPM, or other people's money.
Okay.
It's often associated with big-time investors and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, the bigwigs.
But the blog argues that it's something everyone can utilize.
Now, I'm really curious about this.
Okay.
I can see how an entrepreneur might use OPM to start a business.
Yeah.
But how would that work for somebody with more everyday goals?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
Let's say you want to improve your home, which could potentially increase its value.
Right.
Taking out a home improvement loan
Okay.
is essentially using OPM to achieve that goal.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
perhaps you want to invest in your education to increase your earning potential.
Right.
Student loans, while they come with their own set of considerations, are also a form of OPM.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
So OPM isn't just about million-dollar deals. It's about strategically using borrowed funds to work towards your goals.
Whatever they may be.
Whatever those may be.
Yeah, and it all ties back to that core idea from the blog post.
So.
Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities.
Oh, right.
This is where they really emphasize the distinction between how the wealthy and those struggling financially use debt.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay, I'm all ears.
The blog argues that wealthy people tend to use debt to acquire assets, things that generate income or appreciate in value over time, things like real estate stocks or even businesses.
So they give the example of using a mortgage to buy a rental property.
Right.
Instead of paying rent to someone else, you're using that money to build equity in an asset that could potentially generate passive income for you.
Exactly.
I like the sound of that.
Right.
Okay.
And on the flip side,
people who struggle financially often use debt for liabilities.
Okay.
Things that drain your resources or depreciate in value.
Like buying a brand new car with a high-interest loan.
Exactly.
Not only are you losing money as the car depreciates, but you're also stuck with those hefty loan payments.
Yes.
That's definitely a debt trap you want to avoid.
Absolutely. This distinction between assets and liabilities, it's crucial.
Yeah.
The blog argues it's a fundamental mindset shift.
Okay.
That can make a real difference in your financial journey.
So what they're saying is it's not about avoiding debt altogether.
Right.
It's about being strategic and using it to your advantage.
Exactly.
But then is taking on any kind of debt a smart move for the average person?
That's a good question.
I mean, some people are completely debt averse.
Right. And the blog actually tackles this head on by exploring what it calls good debt for the average person.
Good debt.
Yes.
Yeah.
They break it down into a few categories. First, they talk about home ownership.
Okay.
While getting a mortgage does mean taking on a significant amount of debt.
Yeah.
It allows you to build equity over time.
And that's a pretty important concept, right?
Yeah.
Could you explain what building equity actually means?
Of course.
For our listener.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Every time you make a mortgage payment,
right,
a portion of that payment
yeah,
goes towards paying down the principal amount of the loan.
Okay.
That means you're slowly increasing your ownership stake in the property.
I got it.
As you pay down the loan. And the property value potentially appreciates. Your equity grows.
Okay, so you're essentially building wealth over the long term, even though you started with a large debt.
That's the idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What other types of good debt does the blog discuss?
Another example they give is education.
Okay.
Now, student loans can feel like a huge burden.
For sure.
But the blog frames them as an investment in your future earning potential.
Yeah.
By acquiring new skills or knowledge, you could potentially unlock higher-paying job opportunities.
It's like they say sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
But of course, this only works if you're choosing an educational path that aligns with your career goals and has a good return on investment.
Exactly.
Right.
Not all degrees or courses are created equal.
Sure.
In the job market.
Right.
It's important to do your research.
Yeah.
Be strategic about your educational investments.
Okay.
And just like with home ownership, there are ways to minimize the amount of debt you take on for education.
Oh, like what?
Scholarships, grants.
Yeah.
And even part-time work can help offset some of the costs.
Those are some great points.
Yeah.
Now, the blog also mentions starting a business as a potential avenue for good debt.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. The blog argues that taking on a business loan can be a catalyst for achieving financial independence.
Okay.
Especially if you have a solid business plan.
Yeah.
And are willing to put in the hard work.
So you could use a business loan to purchase equipment, invest in marketing, or even hire staff.
Yeah.
All of which could potentially help your business grow faster than if you were relying solely on your savings.
Precisely.
Okay.
But of course, this comes with its own set of risks.
Of course.
Starting a business is never a guaranteed success.
Right.
And taking on debt adds another layer of complexity.
It sounds like careful planning and a good dose of entrepreneurial spirit.
For sure.
Are essential ingredients in this recipe.
Absolutely.
But I guess that's true of any business venture. With or without loans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a really crucial point that the blog emphasizes.
Okay.
Responsible borrowing.
Responsible borrowing.
They lay out some essential rules.
Okay.
That apply whether you're considering a major investment, like a home, or a smaller purchase.
Okay, let's break down those rules.
Okay.
I think these are some golden nuggets our listener can really benefit from.
For sure.
What's the first one?
The first rule is deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful.
Okay.
Borrow only what you need. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a purchase or the allure of easy credit.
Right.
But overspending can lead to a debt spiral. That's difficult to escape.
It's like that classic saying, live below your means.
Exactly.
It might not be the most glamorous advice, but it's definitely a solid foundation for financial stability.
Exactly. And speaking of foundations,
the
blog's next rule is all about choosing the right type of debt.
Okay.
This means carefully considering the interest rate, repayment terms, and any associated fees before you sign on the dotted line.
So it's not just about how much you borrow, but also the terms under which you're borrowing. A slightly lower interest rate or a longer repayment period can make a huge difference in the long run.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this ties into the blog's next rule.
Okay.
Having a clear plan for repayment.
Okay.
It's not enough to just say, oh, I'll pay it back eventually.
Right.
Creating a realistic budget and sticking to it is crucial for staying on top of your debt.
Right.
And avoiding those late fees or penalties. That can really add up.
It's all about being proactive and taking control of your finances rather than letting them control you.
Exactly.
And I imagine this applies to all types of debt, not just the good debt we were discussing earlier.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
And that leads us to another one of the blog's essential rules.
Okay.
Avoiding high-interest debt like the plague, credit card debt,
Yeah.
payday loans,
Right.
and other forms of high-interest borrowing
Okay.
can be incredibly difficult to manage.
Yeah.
And they can quickly snowball
Oh, whoa.
into a major financial burden.
It's like those quicksand traps you see in the movies.
Yes.
Easy to fall into, but incredibly difficult to escape.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And to build on that,
Yeah.
the blog emphasizes the importance of having a financial safety net,
Okay.
an emergency fund.
Right.
Having that cushion of savings can help you avoid taking on high-interest debt
Okay.
in case of unexpected expenses like a medical bill
Uh-huh.
or car repair.
So you're essentially creating a buffer between yourself
Right.
and those potential debt traps.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
It's all about being prepared
Uh-huh.
and having a plan.
Exactly. And it's not just about grand sweeping financial strategies.
Okay.
The blog reminds us that small, consistent habits
Right.
can make a world of difference over time.
It's like building a muscle.
Yeah,
Small, regular workouts eventually lead to strength and resilience.
exactly.
But you wouldn't try to bench press your maximum weight on day one.
Right.
You start small
Yes.
and gradually build up.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay.
And that same principle applies to managing your debt
Okay.
and building financial stability.
Now, while all this talk of responsible borrowing is incredibly important,
Right.
I want to bring it back to that central question from the blog.
Okay.
Debt. A tool for the rich, a trap for the poor.
Yeah.
After diving into these strategies,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts? Is it really that black and white?
It's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
And honestly, after going through the blog,
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's as simple as rich versus poor.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's more about mindset and strategy than it is about your income level.
Exactly.
Right.
The blog highlights that regardless of your financial starting point,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is key.
Yeah.
Making informed choices about the types of debt you take on
Right.
and having a solid repayment plan are crucial steps
Okay.
for anyone who wants to use debt as a tool for building wealth.
So it's not about
Yeah.
demonizing debt altogether.
Right.
It's about learning how to wield it responsibly.
Yeah.
Almost like a skilled craftsman.
Yeah.
Using a tool to create something valuable.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
And this is where education and financial literacy come in.
Right.
By empowering yourself with the right knowledge and tools, you can break free from that cycle of debt as a trap
Okay.
and start using it as a springboard for financial progress.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
Especially for those who might feel overwhelmed by debt.
Yeah.
Or discouraged by the perceived advantages of
Yeah.
the wealthy.
Absolutely. The blog really emphasizes that financial literacy is a key equalizer.
Right.
By taking the time to learn about personal finance,
Yeah.
investments, and responsible debt management, anyone can start making informed decisions that improve their financial well-being.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with this thought.
Yeah.
Take a moment to analyze your own debt. Is it working for you?
Yeah.
Or against you? Are you using it primarily to acquire assets that will grow in value?
Yeah.
Or is it tied up in liabilities
No.
that are draining your resources?
And once you have a clear picture
Yeah.
of your current debt landscape,
Uh-huh.
think about one small adjustment you could make today
Okay.
to start using debt more strategically.
So could you explore refinancing a high-interest loan
Right.
to get a better rate?
Yeah.
Could you create a budget that allows you to pay down debt faster?
It's a good one.
Maybe you could even start brainstorming ways to invest in income-generating assets.
Remember,
Yeah.
even small changes can have a ripple effect over time.
Right.
Don't underestimate the power of consistent action
Yeah.
and informed decision-making.
It's all about taking control of your finances.
Exactly.
And using debt as a tool for growth.
Right.
Rather than letting it hold you back.
For sure.
Who knows, maybe you'll even discover that debt used wisely can help you achieve your financial goals
It's true.
faster than you ever thought possible.